Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cosmic Surfers episode 21. Now, I was going to lure you in with a clickbaity headline, which is likely still there, and then talk absolute mad shit about alien downloads, taking the piss on the New Age movement about getting the downloads from the aliens, about how they have all of the answers and all of that. But I think it might be a little bit more challenging to talk about my personal experiences, because I never really have done that. So it's time to come clean and talk about all the aliens. But from an experiential wisdom perspective. So, the phenomena from my direct experience has come from a direct result of going within, going into the darkness and purging my worldview, having an ego death, dark night of the soul, and dealing with sheer terror to the point of, freezing, freezing up and going through such a process that it was challenging to even go outside at times. But that was what was required to turn myself inside out and to come to terms with how things really are versus how I want them to be. So how did this start? Let's do a bit of story time. So we're probably talking sometime in 2013 or something like that. I'd been doing a bunch of Vipassana meditation and the typical Goenka 10-day silent retreats, and I went and did a different kind of Vipassana, different from Goenka, which included walking meditation. It was a 21-day meditation. I did it over Christmas and New Year's one year. And it was probably at the end of 2013 or something like that, maybe. I'm not really sure. And it was run by a lady who, with many decades experience, and she taught the Thai royal family. She's a Westerner. Taught Thai royal family Vipassana, as far as I'm aware. And then on the third day, no, what am I talking about? I'm getting ahead of myself. The last 3 days, you have minimal food. I think you eat once a day, and you don't sleep. And in the middle of the night, when it's very challenging to stay awake, and the veil between worlds became thinner. So I'd actually forgotten about this experience for quite a long time. I never really looked into it. I've done some research into it since, but I've had a bunch of experiences, I guess you would say. And I don't necessarily put a whole lot of weight on them, but do have quite a story, I guess. So I guess it was on the third night, I slipped into another dimension or some kind of other place, I guess you would say. I don't really know how to describe it that much. But I appeared in a corporate building with many floors. I came out of a lift and it was empty. It was quite like an executive office building kind of a thing. And at the other end, as the doors opened in the lift and I opened up, at the other end of the floor, there were 2 or 3 men, I think 3, that were dressed in fine suits, And they turned around and they were faceless. And I intuitively and instinctively was like, I'm not meant to be here, get the fuck out. And I, got out of there somehow. And, they were chasing me, or they started running after me. I got out of there somehow. Don't really know how, if I got in a lift or just kind of popped out of that reality or whatever. Now, you can do some research into that. The Men in Black, there's kind of many stories about how they are enforcers of advanced technology and in control of the Matrix and all of that kind of stuff. I don't really want to go into too many details because, it's all anecdotal. So that was my first experience, I guess you would say, as someone who was like not awake or just meditating. I was into sport. I was doing Muay Thai at the time. I was running my online business. That was the experience that I had. And then at the same time, I was talking with her about ayahuasca as well. And then I went to the jungle. There was, let me step back. So there was a range of events that were going on in my company at the time. Found out that my girlfriend had been cheating on me the whole time as I was having all these business things going on at the same time. And I knew that in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, well, if I go to, the first time I go to South America, I want to go check out this ayahuasca thing. So I went to the Brazil World Cup in 2014. Kind of synchronistically, I moved out of home when I was 15, and the family that I lived with had a spare ticket. The guy had a spare ticket. Long story short, had a spare ticket. Jumped on that. Ended up in the Amazon in June or July of 2014, and my very first ayahuasca experience, have a CNN crew in my face. And so as the medicine was coming on, I'd have a red blinking light in my face. And so I didn't really have much of an experience. And then what unfolded after that was a lot of terror, a lot of purging. Now, I guess the reason why I want to talk about this in a more serious way of facing the darkness and the ego death and the dark night of the soul, because I was yelling out, I was dying, I was saying I'm dying, and the shaman was like, just hurry up and die. I was causing a ruckus. I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't a tripper, so to speak. But it was very, very challenging, and I'm kind of bouncing around here, but I've, gone back to the jungle a bunch of times. I've done a bunch of ceremonies, quite experienced in that regard now, but it took a long period of working out, working through it. And I guess the reason why I'm bringing this up is this new age kind of alien download stuff, thinking that they've got the answers instead of having the answers within ourselves. And this light language, it's so much distraction. It's what are the aliens going to tell you that you don't already know? And in my experience, my connection with aliens, interdimensionals, however you want to frame it, It's not a weird subject for me. That showed up when I went through that darkness. It was terrifying. Hardest thing I've ever done. Maybe, to keep showing up. Very uncomfortable. To keep purging. I had so much shit to deal with that in a place called El Purguero, the Purge, and subsequent places that I went to where everyone's purging, I'm known as the purger amongst purgers. Just blah, blah. And people are like, how do you just keep purging? How do you have anything left in your stomach? People would come up to me after ceremonies and be like, all I could hear all night was you just purging your face off. So that was kind of part of the background. And I've had so many experiences that sound fantastical, and I want to get it out there because it's just a fact of reality. I don't put that much weight on it. Aliens, faceless men, the hairy men, the Doolagal is an indigenous word here, Bigfoot. What else we got on here? Alien abduction. We'll get into it. So, play a quick video. Probably get copyright struck here. But this is CNN. First Ayahuasca experience. It's a clip here from 2014.
I'm on my way to a jungle retreat, one of many run by expat Americans. These forests produce many of our modern medicines, and I want to find out if ayahuasca could someday become one of them. This is El Purguero, or the Purger, a collection of simple huts tucked away in the forest.
Went there twice.
It's amazing to me that there are over 100 of these ayahuasca centers in this part of Peru. Almost all of them are run by foreigners, and most of them don't have electricity or even running water. But yet people are coming. They're coming and they're staying in little huts like this one because they say they're not finding what they need back home. Here, Stan hopes.
That guy Stan, I went to his place in Pennsylvania and had some ceremonies with him when my spirit animal, the leopard, showed up for the first time to help me out because I'm having a lot of trouble. He became a shaman in his own right. And then later on I went and did a retreat at his land, which I'll get into later.
To find solace. And he's seeking it from this man, Ron Wheelock, aka the Gringo Shaman.
The man known for having the strongest medicine in the jungle and had, I guess you would say, a couple of mentors. He showed up originally after reading the Carlos Castaneda books, I believe. And he'd already had over 20 years of experience, I believe, when I was there. And also very familiar with the light side of the shamanism and the dark side. And so was able to deal with a lot of dark forces. What did I just do there? Hang on a minute.
The Gringo Shaman. He's a former mechanic and pot dealer from Kansas who spent 2 decades in Peru cooking up psychedelic teas in his role as shaman or traditional healer. I meet up with Stan and Ron at El Purguero as the Gringo Shaman breaks down the plant mix used in his ayahuasca brew, acclaimed as the most powerful in the region.
These are the leaves of the Wambisa, the Chalipanga, that contain 5-MeO-DMT. This is Chacruna. This contains N,N-DMT.
Hung out with that guy as well
the
in
Chile
Canada.
Sanango.
For millennia, native shamans in the Amazon have tapped this jungle pharmacy for all types of cures. But in the past decade, thousands of American tourists have flocked here seeking help from local medicine men, including a new wave of gringo healers like Ron. A 10-day retreat at El Pugero costs about $1,000 and attracts a...
That's me in the blue sweater. That girl next to me became a girlfriend of mine for a while. And, yeah.
wide range of seekers from across the globe. A father and daughter from Canada, an online entrepreneur, the son of a successful CEO, and a professor from Belgium. Like Stan, these travelers are serious. They want healing for mind, body, and soul.
Yep. Things get weird in the jungle. There's a lot of black magic. You know, there's things like alien and love bites go on. Well, so many glitzy and glamorous things, but I can tell you that, and you know, ayahuasca is not a new thing. Everyone knows about it now. It's become a whole thing. I'm much more into the integration side of things now than doing more ceremonies, but subsequent visits, I was drinking 3 or 4 times a week for a month at a time or 7 weeks at a time. So the first ceremony got CNN in my face out of 4. And then who shows up on the 4th ceremony? Former Colonel John B. Alexander, one of the main people involved in non-lethal weaponry and remote viewing. Hung out with that guy at an ayahuasca conference, which he was attending after it. He was doing research. So why am I bringing all of this up? Because I've had so many experiences. I had blue beans holding me up, being like, "You're getting it, you're getting it." My alien star family, or whatever you want to talk about it. But I want to demystify it a little bit, because on some level, who cares? The aliens, bro. Okay, they're interdimensional. Okay, you've got a star family. Do I know where I'm from in the stars? Yes. Have I had alien visits? Yes. Here. Have I been abducted? Yep. And why do I think that happened? Because I got super high when I was in Colombia, passed out. My energy field and biofield likely had holes in it, or access points. Because of that, I woke up with these sores on the side of my stomach, and my flatmate at the time was like, "What's that?" Literally had an experience in my sleep, woke up and had these marks on me. Big deal. You got abducted by aliens, bro. Oh, let's go on a world tour. I know all about the aliens. Who fucking cares? Cool. What knowledge did I get? They showed up when I started purging my own shit, healing my worldview. I didn't show up because I started calling them in. If you've got no experience, what are you calling in? The Galactic Federation, bro. I'm just going to tune in and call in all these entities. The amount of attachments and entities and filthy energy fields that everyone has, even if, and all of these people that go to the jungle, just riddled with entities. So, I went back a bunch of times. I was with Stein on his land, the guy that was there to heal for PTSD from the Amazon. from the military, I should say. And I was about to go do another month in isolation, doing a dieta. And the medicine told me to leave the jungle now. So I left the next day, went into town, opened my laptop, had a message from someone. Normally I wouldn't, someone had reached out to me through a messenger. I normally don't respond to people because in that business world at the time, everyone would always be trying to talk to me to do business with us and stuff like that. I said g'day, ended up selling my company, ended up becoming the custodian of land here where the songlines on Earth begin, and then also at another major site in the Northern Hemisphere. So did I become the custodian of two major sacred sites in the world out of ego because I have money? No. That's not how it happened. It came from going through the eye of the needle and purging all of my shit. And it was really, really, really hard. It was terrifying. And I had to face it, and I had to face myself. There was no escaping. I didn't know what surrender meant. There were these words like people would say, you've just got to surrender, bro. You've just got to relax into it. And I went down kicking and screaming. I was the kind of person that was so locked in to my worldview and all of the shit that I'd accumulated over the years that I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was dying. And I had a huge ego death. So during this period of time, I went and did my first vision quest. On the second morning, I believe, I woke up in that, time, before sunrise or around sunrise. My heart was on the earth when I woke up, and I got the message, the Black Plague is here. And I'm like, what do you mean the Black Plague is coming? And I was like, no, the Black Plague is here. And so that, I don't even know what year this was, maybe 2015 or 2016 or something like that. So what does it mean? I don't know. There's information out there about the Black Plague not being about rats at all in the 1300s. Archaics has got some information on that. Do I know really what that means even to this day? No. If I'm being honest with you. I haven't even researched it a whole lot. I haven't even researched the Faceless Men in Black a whole lot. I'm not attached to these stories. Believe me or not, I don't give a fuck. So then, we've got on a winter solstice one time. I don't even know what I was angry about. I was pissed. I was here. I was going to go climb the mountain. I thought when I came here, first thing I was going to do was climb the head of the caterpillar. Little did I know that I would only ever go up there a few times. I would later find out that the ancestors are buried there. And the song of this mountain is a song of death. Ooh, death. We're immortal beings. We're infinite. So I went up to the peak of the mountain where for part of the year, the sun first hits the earth here. This is where we sing up the song lines aligned with natural law. So I went up there in a huff, big puff, I'm fucking pissed, man, fucking blah, blah, blah. And it was winter solstice, so it's the shortest day of the year. I went up there, I found what looked like a stone circle, actually. And I've never been able to, never been back there, actually. You'd think I'd go straight back up there, but Tried to go there a couple of times, couldn't find it. And the storm, there was a storm coming, and I was running out of daylight. And I started scrambling down this mountain, and there's a huge cliff face. And I scrambled down and ran into a huge cliff face. And I didn't have enough time to go back up and around and to find my way. I had like literal minutes left of daylight. And I knew that if I could get to this creek, which was down to my left, that creek led up to my house. And there was a storm coming, and I was not dressed appropriately, and it was the middle of winter. And as I was thinking about what I'm going to do, I was pushed by a hairy man. That's what I believe happened. I was also dangling by a spear lily, which is a male initiation plant, leadership plant. So as I was contemplating and thinking, before I could even think about it, I was launching through the air. Hit a plant growing out of the rock face and slid down on that. How I survived, I don't know. I fell down into what was a lot of like leaf matter and all of that, which would have been, collecting from falling down the cliff face. Fell very far. How I survived, I don't know. And was stumbling. I was hurt. I was beat up, and I was stumbling through the darkness and just constantly falling over and just carving up my wrists. I got very lucky because the project manager of the land here at the time, I walked past him in the shed when I walked up, and my girlfriend at the time rang him and was like, "Where am I?" Because it's dark, and he saw me walk up there. And so they came up with torches and got me. And I was doing a Star Law Moral Wisdom course by studying with potentially one of the best people in the world for that. And so that was my experience with the hairy men. Interdimensional earth keepers that pop in and out of reality. Time travelers. Tricksters. Do I have a way of proving it? No. Who cares? That's my experience. I live where the veil between worlds is thin. Experiences like this are par for the course. Well, so I went to a Catherine Austin Fitz event one time in Uluru with Richard Dolan. To my new friend Nick, so great meeting you. Let's cross paths again. Richard Dolan, 2018. Nice fella. Very knowledgeable. Went a bit sideways in COVID, in my opinion. But he asked me if I'd had an experience with aliens or abductions or whatever. I said no. I completely forgot. That's how irrelevant it was to me. And it wasn't even until much later I was like, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, actually, I have. And one of the things that this taught me was to see reality as it is rather than how I think that it is. Worldview healing. But these aliens showed up when I started doing deep work. When I started meditating. Excuse me. When I started purging. And I was going to like I said at the beginning of this, I was going to do like a huge piss take on the new age and calling in the aliens and getting the downloads and all that kind of stuff. But the truth of the matter is that we are stargates. We are fractals of the universe. We can access everything from going in here. You don't need the aliens. The aliens don't have the answers. You have the answers. So how about you ask yourself what you need to know? This is not some guru fucking talk. Like, what are we doing here? The aliens are going to tell us what's going on? We're going to get disclosure from the government? You're going to get some people on stage. We're like, oh yeah, the aliens are real. Okay, everyone, aliens are real. They're interdimensional. Oh, there's DMT and there's plant medicine, mushrooms. Ooh, you talk to aliens. Ooh, I got abducted. Ooh, talk to the hairy man. Ooh, Men in Black. Big deal. Move on. Everyone knows this. What are we going to do? You've got to face yourself. Turn yourself inside out. Purge your shit. Then maybe when your bucket is empty and you've cleared all the dross out, maybe then you can talk to the aliens. But you access it through here. That's where the true power is. We are the co-creators of this reality. We are infinite. We have everything that we need. There is no external source coming to save us. There is no external source that has the answers. We have the answers. Fuck the aliens. I don't give a shit about the aliens. I mean, I'm simplifying it. There's a lot to the alien stuff and we'll talk about it in future episodes, but that's what I've got to share for now. I hope you enjoyed story time. All the glitzy and glamour of the aliens. I'll probably do some clickbaity headline. But the truth of the matter is that you don't need to go and do all of these things. There's different pathways. This is just a message to let you know that you have everything that you need already. As do I, and it's a constant reminder for myself for integration and grounding. So, as someone who has journeyed and gone through that dark night of the soul, I encourage you to do the same. And if you do it, it's all going to be okay. You've got this. Much love. Peace out, everybody. Until next time. Ciao for now.